preparing tonight, and I wanted to get all my facts straight. So I called Jimmy and I said, so Jimmy, were you born at home? I mean, you were born 70 years ago. Were you born at home or were you born in a hospital? And so Jimmy set the record straight and got me all squared away, and he confirmed that he was born in swaddling clothes lying in a manger a long, long time ago. Wise men brought him gifts. Speaking of wise men, I would like to ask Roger Sharpe to come up, and it is with great pleasure I welcome you, Roger. Roger is a former professor, a public servant, an educator, a former North Carolina legislator. He was elected to the North Carolina Senate at age 29. Roger is an orator, a published author, and he is a mentor to many, including me. We are delighted that you are here because your friendship and your influence on Jimmy have been remarkable. Jimmy and Roger met in 1975 at a Burke County Democrat event, and Roger was teaching at Western Piedmont Community College in Morganton, and that began a lifelong friendship between these two. Please come up.
The problem at my age, trying to make a speech, I'm quite challenged, and that's the reason I thought through it and wrote down some notes, but I'll try to speak from the heart, even if I have to refer to my notes. Thank you, dear Valley and Alicia and Dee Dee, for hosting this event, co-hosting. I want to mention, I wished I could tell everybody I knew here and mention your name. I've got to mention my friend Judy Waycaster Walker. She was Roy Waycaster's niece, and I met Judy at Meredith College in 1965 when I was at NC State. Mr. Haynes and I talked about that. And when I came to Morganton to teach at the college about 1974, and I remember that Judy was born in Morganton, and her family had moved to Charlotte to work and so on. But I tell you that because when I met Jimmy, it just seemed like, you know, that it was all meant to be. What can I say? That it was coming together. And subsequently, over the years, we have found out that our German pioneer parents came through Philadelphia, where Valley's family was, and so on, and I have family there. They moved up to Nazareth and those places in there, and came down then with Daniel Boone to the Yadkin River Valley. So we really have kinfolk going way back, you see, to those early years. Jimmy's family, by the way, came first. I want his
we welcome Roger's family.
Jimmy is that a soulmate to Valerie, and I want to know you to know, if you know someone long enough, you can remember they're meeting other people in their lives that hold very special places. And Judy and I were visiting in Jimmy's home that weekend that he met Valerie. I understand it was on a Friday night, and I remember a discussion of that on a Sunday. I'd come down from New York. Just, isn't that amazing? It just, life is like that, isn't it? When I look out at all of you, familiar and friendly faces, I'm reminded of the word carouse, coined by the writer Kurt Vonnegut in The Cat's Cradle. Carouse is essentially our committee of individuals in life who help us achieve our life's purpose and meaning. It is with the group of people our experiences of beauty and wonder lie, our inspiration, even sometimes at our unawareness. This gathering may also be termed as Jimmy's cloud of witnesses, as written in the Hebrews. Or balcony people, as the late Duke University professor and distinguished Carlisle Marney talked about. Balcony people. Describing the people who encourage us on to be our best selves. UNC law professor Mike Gerhardt, a presidential scholar, has written a book on mentoring, and he talks about the people in Abraham Lincoln's life who influenced him in such a positive and good way, and so it's a good word. Maya Angelou, the poet from Wake Forest University, the late poet who was a friend, she talked about she rose and he rose in her life. Isn't that something? We have both men and women who encourage us to go on, to be our best selves. And there was a Professor Beverly Harrison, an ethicist from New York City, that retired to the Brevard, Hendersonville area after her teaching many years. And she talked about mutuality in relationships, the mutual benefit of the people that we meet in life and support each other, encouraging us on to be our best selves. So I go to that detail just to say that the takeaway and the gift of our coming together this evening, I hope that you will be encouraged in your young lives to spend some time and keep a list of the people that have made such a difference in your life and the choices that you made. And I've done that, and believe me, mine's a long list. It's the crowd of witnesses, like in the scriptures, I would think. I first met Jimmy, and I'm going to try to be brief with this story. It was at the Burke County Democratic meeting. It was held in the courthouse. Senator George Marion of Surrey County was the speaker that evening. It was my first meeting as a teacher at the college in Morganton to go. And I heard this lady speaking from across the way, just a roaring voice, and it was Mrs. Ray Clontz, white-headed, widowed. Her late husband had been the chairman of the county commissioners in Burke County. And she took me to meet Jimmy Worley, and that was our introduction. And Ray Clontz was a saint in our lives. I want you to know that throughout her life. And I believe that we have those people who are for us in our journey. And there was one of her, I mentioned Judy's uncle Roy Waycaster, Ray's husband, and Roy Waycaster, and Jim Myrick, the third one, who owned the pool hall near the courthouse and was Ray's age. They used to play poker together. I learned that out, please. So you never know. Maybe, and if they drink Guinness, more power to them. It happened that Jim Myrick was nominated by me, if I can tell that, And this man, and a businessman in Morganton, he was the guy that all the working people in the county came through if they needed advice about a lawyer or whatever, or maybe a judge, that sort of thing. And he got to go to the Democratic National Convention in New York City in 1976, and he invited Jim Warlick to go with him. Now, Jimmy says that Ray and I took them to the airport. I don't remember that part. I remember us picking them up after the convention and at the Charlotte airport to bring them back to Morganton. And Jimmy had bought a few hundred campaign buttons of the Jimmy Carter smile. Do you remember the teeth? That was the big thing that was promoted in some of the campaign ads. He brought them back to Morganton. He sold them for probably 2 or 3 times more than he had paid for them. And so I want to turn the phrase of Eudora Welty's One Writer's Beginning, which I happened to hear her give those lectures, is to say that that must have been one entrepreneur's beginnings. He saw, you know, how he was enticed by that cash flow there. And it took a while, and then with Alicia's help and others, he was able to start his business and all that. That's one of the great things. His first store was Political Americana at Union Station. He'd gone home the weekend, and I remember calling him because on the front page of the Washington Post, there was Bill Clinton looking over Jimmy Carter's case of buttons and that sort of thing. They closed the area down for the president to come and buy from his store. Now, is that luck or what? It was good business, I think, for Jimmy. He's had so many stores and so on. I wanted to mention White House Gifts across from the White House, Presidential Scoops. They're among many business ventures. But the one that I thought that has been most interesting of all his activities and creativity was the Traveling American Presidential Experience exhibitions that Donald Snare transported across the country for him. Don's here. They featured an Air Force One fuselage of Presidents John Kennedy and Presidents Ronald Reagan, and life-size replicas of their Oval Offices. And they were among these many undertakings. These exhibitions brought museum-quality presidential memorabilia to hundreds of thousands of citizens at scores of venues from Rockefeller Center in New York to the month-long San Diego County Fair in California. Jim employed hundreds of college students, giving them firsthand a civic view of our state and nation that few otherwise would experience in their lifetimes. And that's a wonderful thing he did. His company was present at every national Democrat and Republican convention since 1980. And all the political rallies, the presidential nominees which followed. Jim's business and his education-related subsidiaries, which proved financially successful these 40 years, have subsidized his philanthropic efforts and contributions. Notably among them are his beneficence to elementary and middle school children in his home county of Burke, his funding scholarships at Western Piedmont Community College, in East Carolina University, and his devoted energy to honor his family's legacy of women and men in honor of his mother, Murray Harrison Worley, who worked in textile and furniture factories and hosiery mills in and around Burke County. There will be a public statue dedication ceremony in Morganton. You'll be hearing more about it, and I hope all of you will make that. Thank you. It's a wonderful gift, Jimmy, to be in your life. I, like most people, I wanted to quickly tell you this. I think I made the indiscreet decision to introduce Jimmy to my family, because thereafter they always asked about Jimmy. They weren't interested in what I was doing. It was Jimmy. So, thank you.